All right, Mr. Whaley, you have the floor. I'm going to go ahead and um, share the presentation. But good evening to everyone. Thank you for being here. We are ready for our 2026 budget finalization meeting. And so at this time, I am sharing the presentation. So Mr. Whaley, you have the floor.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Deerwood Academy's Go Team meeting. Where we follow the agenda that's been emailed to you and publicly noted. All right, I am pleased to call the meeting of the Deerwood Academy Go Team to order. Our first order of business is the call of roll. Madam Secretary, you may now take the roll.
And just to let you all know, the internet is a little sketchy. It's trying to connect. So as soon as it is cooperating, I will go to slideshow mode. Until then, I'm not able to. So just to let you all know. And Miss Scott, I'm not sure if you're on mute or not, but I am not able to hear you.
Okay. Okay, so I will call the roll. Okay. Please answer present when your name is called. Principal Antone.
Present.
Kayla Gunn. Kayla Gunn. Wanda Neal. Wanda Neal. Rashana Osgood.
Present.
James Miles.
Present.
And myself, Charlotte Scott, is present. Jeremiah Blunt.
Present.
Jonathan Gales.
Present.
Demetrius Rowe. Demetrius Rowe. And Norman Whaley.
Present.
Thank you, guys.
The team will only be able to take official business and action if we have a quorum present. Madam Secretary, Secretary, do we have a quorum present?
Yes, we do have a quorum present.
All right. Now, okay. Now, we're going to go ahead to the first order of business is to approve last week's, or approve, our first order is to approve this meeting's agenda. This was provided to you via email, and there will be some shown on the screen here. Please take a moment to review the agenda.
And this is it right here.
I move that we approve the agenda as written.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
All right. The agenda has been properly moved in second. All right. All in favor for the approval of this agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Are there any abstentions? If so, please raise your hand. The agenda has been properly voted on and approved. Now we're going to go to our next order of business, which is the approval from the last meeting's minutes. We will review the last meeting's minutes from our last meeting, and please take a minute if you need to review them again. And if you see any corrections, please raise your hand and let us know. You have any corrections, Mr. Blunt? You raised your hand. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I can't hear you, Mr. Blunt.
No, sir, that was accidental. I
Okay.
apologize.
Oh, no problem. If there are not any corrections need to be made in the last meeting's minutes, can I get a motion to approve the previous minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Do we have a second?
I second that motion.
The previous meeting's minutes have been properly moved in second. Now, please raise your hand if you're in favor of the previous meeting's minutes by saying aye.
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 Anybody opposed, please say aye. Please say nay. Are there any abstentions? If so, please raise your hand. The approval for the previous meeting's minutes have been properly moved in second. Now we're going to go on to our next order of business, and I'm going to turn this over to Principal Anton.
Thank you so much, Ms. Scott and Mr. Whaley.
Mhm.
And also, I would like to note for the record as well that Ms. Neal has joined us. Good evening, Ms. Neal.
Good evening.
All right. So that you can include her in the attendance as well, Ms. Scott. And we will move on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Principal Anton. Miss Jacoby has joined also.
That's right. Also, Ms. Diane Jacoby. Hello, Ms. Jacoby, from the Go Team office is with us as well. Welcome. All right, thank you. All right, so the norms for our meeting, this is a meeting of the Go Team and only the members of the Go Team may participate in the discussion. Any members of the public present are here to quietly observe. We will follow the agenda as noticed to the public and stay on task. We do invite and welcome contributions of every member and listen to each other. And we will also respect all ideas and assume good intentions. And so we have finally reached step 8 of this process. So this is where we are now, where we are at the Go Team budget finalization meeting. And so all budgets will be approved by March 14th. So we are on schedule for budget approval. Excuse me. And so in this meeting, we'll have ongoing conversations. We'll take action actually at this budget meeting. Okay. All right, and so what are we doing this evening? So we have reviewed all components of the budget. It's based upon feedback from the cluster superintendent and key leaders. So we've done that. I've had my staffing meeting. After that review, we are set to take action and vote on the FY26 fiscal year 26 budget. And so principals will present the final budget recommendations for Go Team approval, which we'll do tonight. And once again, that meeting should be held before March 14th so that the budget can actually be approved after we take action and vote on it. And so in terms of our budget updates, we've gone through budget allocations, budget proposal, and now after the staffing meeting, basically what you need to know is that there were not any changes made to the draft budget that I presented to you in our last meeting on February 11th. Everything that we discussed was actually, it was okay when I presented it to in the staffing meeting with my supervisor, that's my cluster superintendent, HR, several other district leadership members who were there. And so if you can recall, everything that we discussed in terms of the budget, we're good. So there were no changes. I have also on this presentation attached last month's slides to this presentation as well. Of course, this will be uploaded to our school website under Go Team by tonight's meeting date, so that anyone can refer back to the budget allocations and proposal that we actually discussed as well. Any questions about this? Okay. All right. All right, so I will move along. Okay. All right, and so just to kind of a quick, very brief summary and recap of what our budget was, because I know it's been a month since we last looked at that budget proposal. But if you can recall, this is actually our budget by function to give you an overview of what our budget will look like. And so, as you can recall, we are projected to have an increase of enrollment of 436 students. I think it was about an increase of 8 students. And keep in mind that this number does not include pre-K. And so we normally have 2 full pre-K classes with about 20-something students. And so when we talk about budget, that does not include pre-K. So we'll actually have additional students in our building in addition to the 436. However, as it relates to our budget, as you can see, based on the budget by function, majority of our funds are spent in what area? If anybody want
Instruction.
instruction, thank you. So majority of our funds are spent in instruction with $5,613,608, with the average cost per pupil at $12,875. When it as it relates to instruction. Pupil services would come next, and some of you may ask, well, you know, what is per pupil services, right? Let's see, so let me just move this over. So when we talk about pupil services, so those are, you're looking at activities designed to assess and improve the well-being of students and to supplement the teaching process. Activities such as guidance, counseling, testing, attendance, social workers, things of that nature. And so when we look at that, that is what is devoted to in terms of pupil services. Improvement of instructional services will follow after that. And then we have educational media services, school administration, followed by maintenance and operation, and then transportation. So you can clearly see where our funds lie. And so on the next slide, you have a visual of the same information. And once again, as you can see, that blue, that powder blue color there is instruction. So that is actually what we want to see, that most of our dollars are spent for instruction. Any questions or discussion about the information that I just shared, that we didn't have any changes? So what was proposed, that of what I shared with you in the February 11th meeting, passed, you know, once I had my staffing meeting. And so before we take action tonight, do we have any questions about the budget?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right. And so we must take action on the budget, which means we would need to vote. And after the motion and a second, the Go team can have additional discussion as needed. And once that discussion is concluded, the Go team will vote. Okay? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so Mr. Whaley, I will kick it back over to you so that we can take action.
All right. So now we need to take action on the fiscal year 26 budget. May I have a motion to take action?
I move that we approve the fiscal 26-year budget as presented by Principal Antone.
All
I
right.
second the motion.
All right, now we have properly moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. If we have any, do we have any abstentions? If so, you please raise your hand. Okay. The Go team has properly voted to take action on the fiscal year 26 budget. And I'm going to turn it over back to you, Principal Antone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Whaley. All right, and so at this time, we will review the additional agenda items. And the next item are the information items. We have the principal's report, and then we have the cluster advisory team report. The last meeting was held on February 24th. And so we will provide updates from there, and then any announcements we'll share. Okay, so in terms of the principal's report, I do want to report that we had the skate party at Cascade Skating Rink. It was a hit. That was an attendance incentive. We had a great celebration of Black History Month with the Black History Month program and the Wax Museum. So our very own Miss Scott is here, who was one of the staff members who actually put together the Wax Museum. So let's give her a hand tonight. Thank you, Miss Scott. It was definitely a great experience for our school. Also, we had Read Across America today. That was a hit, Mardi Gras style. As you can see, the attire. So our students, actually students all across America, was actually had an emphasis on reading today. So our scholars got to circulate through the Learning Commons or Media Center today to hear stories read from by their administrators, the assistant principal and the principal. And everyone dressed up today in their beads and their green, purple, and gold today. Also, tomorrow we have a career day kickoff. And with our community meeting, with our students, we'll get them excited about Career Day, what that entails, what it's all about, and what they can expect. I believe we have some puppets coming for the little ones, and we have something else for the older kids tomorrow as well. But the goal is to get them excited about it and to pump them up about our next swag celebration. And the swag, remember, it's students who achieve great gains for meeting their MAP assessment goals. We're going to let them know about what's to come, so something they can look forward to once they meet their goals, game truck, bouncy houses, fun activities, things of that nature. And we also have Career Day on the 6th. That's this Thursday. We've got Picture Day on Friday. Students can wear school-appropriate clothing, so they don't have to wear the uniforms in the picture. We do have a visit from Strong for Life. This is the team from the Children's Hospital of Atlanta, CHOA, where they visited us at the beginning of the year. They had a huge pep rally, talked to us about healthy habits and things that we can do throughout the year. We often, especially through PE and health, we share healthy tips and we get them going throughout the year with how to maintain a healthy, balanced lifestyle. So they'll be here on the 11th. All of the kids and staff in the building will have a shirt on the same shirt from Strong for Life. They'll be on the morning announcements. They will be hanging out in the cafeteria all day as the kids come in, and they will also participate in the PE classes. So that will be an exciting day. We do have a professional learning day for staff. It's a district professional learning day on the 17th of March. So there will not be any school for students. Also, we have a lot going on. So we have Parent Academy on the 18th of March. And those topics we're going to be sharing with parents all about Georgia milestones and the writing assessment prep and how they can help. And so that will be a very important session for grades 3 through 5, but we will also be doing a session for grades kindergarten, first and second grade as well. So we are asking all of our parents to come out that night and learn all about those topics. With K through 2, we'll be talking about what are those foundational things that our kids need that lead up to grades 3 through 5 when they have to take those assessments. So we'll be looking at building that foundation. The MAP assessment in reading and math will take place in March as well on the 19th and 20th this month. And then our grades K through 3, they have the MAP fluency assessment to see how well they can read and comprehend complex text. And the writing assessment will be right behind that one, which is April 1st through 4th, when they had that window for them to complete that. I do want to mention there is a Leadership Atlanta cohort. Every year, the city of Atlanta, they have a leadership cohort, and these are individuals, leaders from the community who actually branch out into the city of Atlanta, and they look for projects where they can help to improve really the quality of life. And that this particular cohort, some of the students from that cohort, they have selected Deerwood Academy to assist us with reaching our school goals as it relates to academics, attendance, and parent engagement. So we are working with them. We have a series of scheduled meetings coming up where we'll be doing some deep dives in terms of how can they help us in these areas, and then how can they help us to maintain this work even when they're long gone. So we're looking forward to that. Teacher Appreciation Week will be celebrated the week of April 21st through the 25th. And the swag celebration, that's once we take the MAP test in March and we get look at those, analyze those results, we see what students reach their math and reading goals, those growth targets. We will be celebrating those students, like we said earlier, with game truck, bouncy houses, and just a huge celebration there. So if you would like to contribute, or anyone watching would like to contribute to those celebrations, please let me know. It's been a while since we talked about the safety security grant. When we talked the last time, we talked about how we wanted to use it. But once we met with some of the representatives from that company, we did need to pivot. So we had someone to come into the building. We did a complete walkthrough of the building to look at our cameras. And so we are looking at doing some updates to the cameras around the building to make sure that we have all access points that are needed to make sure that we can maintain safety at all times. Because there are some blind spots, there are some areas that we're missing. Sometimes things happen and we try to use the cameras and there's some things that are not in our view. So I think we did a pretty thorough sweep, and so what we've received the quote, and so we'll be doing some updates to our cameras. Okay, and we did receive another $45,000 in the budget for next year. So we'll be looking at that and looking at ideas that we will actually use with that money for next year as well. All right, and then I do want to mention, in terms of attendance, one of our goals this year is also, and one of the things we have to work towards as it relates to College Career Readiness Performance Index, that CCRPI, is of our Georgia Department of Education office. We are held accountable to make sure that our students are at school. They must be present 90% of the time for which they are enrolled during the school year. And so with that requirement, we set a goal. And so last year in May, after we took the Georgia milestones, we got all of our data back, we were at 66% of our students being at school present each day, 90% of the time. So our goal this year is to be at 70% so that we can see gains on that CCRPI report. That's that state report where it scores all the schools in Georgia, public schools, that is. So our current data as of March 2nd is 72.4. We know that has a tendency to dip at the end of the year. So we know one of the things that we're doing, we meet weekly with the attendance team. And so what we discussed today when we met is that we will survey students this week to determine the effectiveness of the attendance incentives. And we will begin attendance incentives that impact all students weekly. So we do pop-up parties every week when there's a homeroom that has 100% of their students present, but it only impacts the homeroom. So we're looking at now weekly incentive for all students who are present 5 days each week. So that will be something that we can continue to monitor that data on to see if that 72.4 goes up so that we are where we need to be. And we also discussed having a 90s party in May, because students have to be at school 90% of the time they are enrolled. So in May, at the end of the year, we're going to throw a huge 90s party where the kids can dress up like they're from the 90s era, with, hopefully some food, music, and, to just give them a good time and give them something to look forward to and come to school until the last day. Okay, so those are just some things in the works. So just wanted to give you that update. And then just a note there that we have started an Instagram page for Deerwood. So we'll be starting to post and put this out there to make sure that all of our staff and our families know about our Instagram page. So just be aware of that. And then moving on to the cluster priorities. Remember, this meeting was held on February 24th. And so just to give you an update here, our cluster advisory team meets about 3 or 4 times a year, and we come up with priorities for our cluster, things that we agree to work on. And so remember, our first priority is that we improve student attendance. In terms of the cluster, going from 89% to 91% by the end of this school year, by making sure we're looking at targeted initiatives. And so one of the things that we looked at was, like I said, number one, and we just talked about having a monthly attendance incentive program for students, which we do. But also keying in on those students who are here 5 days a week, 100%, and making sure that they are receiving recognition in some way. The other action step for that is reviewing our Infinite Campus. That's our data system at each semester to make sure that our incentives are effective and monitoring our data, which we do on a weekly basis with our attendance team. But like I said, we discussed today doing a survey with our students to make some adjustments as well as we try to keep that holding in the road until the end of the school year. The second priority is to enhance literacy outcomes within the THERA cluster. And so basically students from their current achievement levels to the next level based on map reading data by the end of the academic year. So basically looking at where our students start out in August with the map assessment and reading and math, and monitoring that data to see where we are in mid-year when they do it in November, December. And then they're going to do it again March 18th and March 19th and 20th, okay? So we will be looking at that data to see, what is that growth, because that assessment actually is an indicator of how well our students would do on the state test, the Georgia Milestone. And we also look at K through 2 data as well, not just 3 through 5, to look at how our students are progressing and growing throughout the year. And those action steps are to implement a targeted intervention program that includes weekly small group reading sessions tailored to the specific needs of identified students. So we do that daily. We call it in K through 3, we call it Flyleaf. I shared some Flyleaf data with you all in a couple of sessions ago so that you can see the growth. We're currently assessing those students again to see what growth they've had since we had the last assessment around October. I know when we had our last assessment, a lot of our kids tested out, and so they're now in enrichment settings, and some students leave their grade and go to a higher grade during that time so that they can get what they need. But and Miss Scott is very instrumental in working with that. She's our leaders coach in the building, who actually helps to make sure that this is being carried out. We also, number 2, provide professional development for our staff on differentiation, those strategies as well, to make sure all of our teachers are equipped to support the diverse learners. And so that's just an overview and the updates that were discussed in our last cluster meeting. There was also some discussion about schools who may have fallen below I want to say 400 students. Mrs. Jacoby, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but who may have fallen below 400 students because, as you know, our district is looking at how we can best utilize our resources and make sure that the district works to decrease the deficit that we have, financial deficit that we have across the district. Deerwood did not fall. As you saw our projections, we've actually been increasing. We didn't fall in that category. So I did not attach that presentation, but I know that there's more information to come. So that is pretty much the highlight. Those are the highlights of the last cluster Go Team meeting. Any questions about that? Or any of the information that I just shared? Okay, moving right along. All right, So I do want to highlight, as a cluster, we have 4 elementary schools in the Thorough cluster. We have 1 middle school, that's Bunch, and we have 1 high school. And so we have been working to campaign and advertise our Thorough cluster schools about all of the great things that are going on in our cluster, as we do have some great things that are going on. And so we have been sharing a video on Twitter. We're going to post it on our new Instagram page as well. And we will share it out in um, Class Dojo for our parents. We just want to make sure that we put it out there, but it does include clips. That's quite a bit from Deerwood, I will say that, but just some clips from all of the schools in our cluster from elementary on up to the high school. And so just know that that's being put out there. And there are going to be a series of videos that come out. Right now, we're looking at Experience More with their cluster schools. And then we'll have some other things that will come out with some more video clips from our schools. So I just want to make sure that you are aware of that. And in terms of announcements, we are in a season where you can actually let's see, be elected. We're looking for candidates to serve on Go Team for next year. I know we need at least one staff member who is non-supervisory, and we need one parent. And so we do have one staff member who has gone in to declare their candidacy. And we do need one more parent. So if you know someone who may be a good candidate or may be interested, or if you would like to recommend someone, please let me know. But it has been extended to March 7th, which is this Friday. Any questions about that? All right. If we don't have anything else, that's all I have. So just would like to say thank you for all of your efforts and time for being here each one of our meetings and getting through this process. It's been a pretty lengthy process this year. I know we had an additional meeting this time, but we wanted to really be transparent with the budget this year and make sure that you understood everything about the budget there is. And we have done a great job with looking at the budget, looking at the allocations and doing the proposal and taking action tonight. So I do thank you all for that. Any questions? If not, I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Whaley. And Mr. Whaley, if you're talking, I cannot hear you. You may
No,
be.
I'm sorry. I didn't say anything. I'm just clicking.
Okay.
All right. Now we have come to the end of the meeting today. Hope everyone have a great evening. I want to see if we can make a motion to close out the meeting tonight.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Do we have a
I'll
second?
second that motion.
All right. Well, the meeting has been properly moved in second. All in favor to close out the meeting tonight, raise your hand or say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. If we have any abstentions, please raise your hand. And I don't see anything. So the meeting to tonight's Go Team for Deerwood have been properly moved and closed. So good evening, everybody. Y'all have a great night.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Everybody,
Thank
thank
you
you.
all so
Good
much.
night.
And I'm
Thank you,
sorry, y'all.
everyone.
I see someone asked me for one thing, if I could share
Oops.
the video. So Ms. Jacoby, is it possible for me to share the video for those who would like to stay on and watch, since we have closed the meeting out?
Sure, if you would like to. It's your choice whether you want to keep streaming to YouTube or not, because the meeting's closed out. So,
Okay.
and just a quick reminder for everybody, because I don't like to do it during the meeting sometimes, but please remember to finish your budget training if you haven't already. If you need your credentials for Ellis, please reach out to me and I will be happy to get them for you.
All
But
right.
I do have to jump to another meeting. So if anybody needs anything from the Go Team office, we thank you for your service and just feel free to reach out at any time. We're here to help.
Okay,
you.
thank you so much, Mr. Kobe. So I will go ahead and play the video for those of you who would like to see it. Just let me know if you can hear it. Let's see.
Nelson Mandela once said, education is
Can
the
you all
most
see that? Give me a
powerful
thumbs
weapon
up.
that you can use to change the world.
Okay, great.
Deserves more than just a school. They deserve an experience. More opportunities, more hands-on learning that brings lessons to life. More support from dedicated educators who see their potential. More preparation for college and a future without limits. Now, after Second State University, while college and teach
It's kind of choppy. I think the internet.
athletics, early learning to graduate.
That may be me.
We provide the foundation and inspiration for your child's success. Because here, learning isn't just about what happens in the classroom, it's about who they become.
Okay, so I hope you all enjoyed that. There will be about 3 or 4 more videos that come out that highlights different areas of our third cluster schools, and we just want everybody to see how our schools are so that we can do this in our cluster. They're still good. So spread the word. We'll post it into Class Dojo, the parent newsletters, and Instagram and Twitter. So we'll make sure we put that out there to you. And then Dr. J, if you're still here, if you could share it with I know that you are with Princeton Lakes, correct? He may be gone already, but we'll make sure we get it out there to you all. So thank you all and have a good night.
Good evening.